Good morning, my beautiful ladies. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, wonderful.
Great. How are my beautiful ladies all over the Caribbean?
Good morning.
Morning, everyone. It's another bright and beautiful day in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It's now 10:09 Atlantic Standard Time, and I thank God for health and strength for yet another day. So we're here again, Saturday the 12th of June, for yet another wonderful session of the Dream Big Girls Empowerment Program. And I am Simone Claxton, President and founder of the Sophia Miriam Foundation. And as usual, we have with us Mr. Ricardo Mitchell, who is our marketing and public relations manager and the person behind all these wonderful videos you've been seeing on YouTube and all our graphics and branding, etc. So just want to thank him so much for all the work he's been doing. And I want to thank my team in Guyana, Suriname, St. Lucia, Dominica, all over the Caribbean, who's been working tirelessly to make this program a success that it's been so far. And I thank you ladies most of all for joining in every week religiously, really paying attention and soaking up all the information. Thank you so much. So today we have two topics, very special topics, important topics. Money management. We're talking about financial management today and also about goals, setting SMART goals. And these are topics that may not seem very important to us, teenagers. However, once you lay the foundation now as a teenager with respect to your financial management and setting of your goals, the sky won't even be the limit. It'll be way above the sky. All right, guys, so we have with us a very special guest this morning. And I'd like you all to give her all the attention and be as interactive as possible when that time comes. We have with us Miss Heather Alexis-Martin, who is the branch manager at JMMB, Port of Spain. So JMMB Bank will be with us today. We want to just thank them in a very special way for their financial and their, support in every way. They've been backing us for the past few years, and we just want to thank them. They've been a great, great partner. So we have Ms. Martin with us today, who's going to teach you girls a little bit about financial management, saving and budgeting, etc., and set you on the right track. Ms. Martin?
Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Good morning. Thank you, Sophia Miriam Foundation, for giving JMMB the opportunity once again to reach to such a lovely regional audience. Can't see any faces. I'm only seeing Kalisa. Good morning, Kalisa. So I can say good morning to her. Oh, I'm seeing Shalini. Yes. All of you from Trinidad? Yes.
Shalini is from Trinidad. Kalisa is not. We have girls, you can say where you're from. We have Guyana.
Okay. I'd like to see your faces just for a quick moment to see who I'm speaking to if possible. Anybody else want to show their face?
Where's Dorothea? Dorothea is normally very visible. Jade.
I just saw Jade came on and then she left.
We have Rihanna. Rihanna is from Guyana.
Okay.
We have Suriname, Guyana. We have St. Lucia.
Any
ladies from, we have Savannah from Grenada here with us today. Okay. Savannah.
Hi, Savannah. How is Grenada?
Good.
That's where my forefathers are from, the Alexis family.
Okay, nice.
Grenada. Yes. Never been, but hopefully to reach there soon. Good morning, Naya.
Naya, yeah, St. Rose.
Naya. Yes. Good morning. So I'm here. I'm going to try and share my screen. So good morning again, lovely ladies. Thank you again for having JMMB here with us. And please, if at any point in time you need to ask questions, you can ask me any questions. As you know, at JMMB Bank, we're located in Jamaica and Domrep and in Trinidad. So we're regional as well. Soon to go into Guyana, hopefully. So we're working on that. Why do you think it's important to save? Anybody?
In case of emergency.
Yes. I heard emergencies. That's why. That's very true.
Or a rainy day.
Right.
For your future.
Correct. Yes, that's very good. So I
Sustain your future.
sustain your future. Correct. Yes. So some of you like,
Financial security.
yes, correct. As you're seeing here on the next slide, like you all answered, create wealth, have financial independence in case of
Financial security.
yes, in case of emergencies, you have to look at your wants versus your need and peace of mind. And really and truly in today's environment, it's so important to really pay attention to why you're saving, because as you know, we live in some unprecedented times and you really have to save for a rainy day, right? So some of saving, you set your financial goals. So goals are, anyone? You know what your goals are? You know what you want to accomplish. If it's a new book, a new game, it's a new course you might be interested in doing, learning a different language. You could want to learn sign language, which is very important. Learning a different language to cross that barriers, because we live regionally and we have a lot of people interacting. We have Venezuela right across throughout the region. And when you're setting your financial goals, you set a deadline and it has to be realistic. And as Simone would have mentioned earlier, it has to be SMART. And I don't know how many know what SMART stands for. Anybody? When somebody says set a SMART goal, besides the name SMART, so to make it very simple for you, SMART, S, it has to be specific. It has to be something you can measure. It has to be accurate. It has to be realistic, and it has to have a time frame. So when you break down SMART, that's what, a SMART goal means. You don't want to set a goal to, okay, I'm going to buy a house in 12 months. And your budget, you only have like $500 coming in a month. That's not a SMART goal. That's a wish. Or you can win the lotto. But having a SMART goal really helps you on setting a deadline of where you want to reach your financial goals. And you can start small. You can set weekly goals where if it is you get an allowance, you just take out if it's $40 or $20 a week, and then you can go up to a monthly goals and you track your goals for when you reach your goal. If the book is costing, let's say $60 and you reach that, you celebrate. You have a little celebration of, oh yeah, I've reached my goal. And that helps you and encourage you to set bigger goals, right? So how do you create a budget? Well, as I mentioned, you set a financial goal, but really creating a budget is knowing what it is you have to spend every month and really stick to it. So you may have fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are stuff that you do have to pay for every month. And for some of us young ladies, it could be sanitary supplies, your personal products, hygiene products. Those are stuff that you have to buy every month. Your discretionary expenses or stuff that you could do without, or could be that shoes or a new phone case, going to the movies, going out to eat a burger or pizza or chicken and chips. Those are stuff we would refer to as discretionary expenses because it's not absolutely necessary. You have to do that every month, but you can put aside some like every 2 months or 3 months just to, or maybe when you reach your goal, reward yourself by doing something like that, right? You subtract your expenses from what it is you're getting. So you subtract all your expenses from your income, and that is how you could know how to implement and adjust your budget. And your budget must have a savings element in it. After you pay for all your necessities, if it is you have to save $20 or $50 a month, it must have a savings element to it. And that's how you really create a budget. And some of the tools you can use, we have the old way, a piece of paper, you get a copybook, you write down your expenses, what you budgeted for, what you actually spend, and you can monitor and see exactly where you went off track. If you know this is not realistic, maybe I didn't know the price of something went up, so maybe you might have to tweak it from your savings. Or if you realize, hey, if I buy 2 of this month at this price, I could save a little extra next month on my savings. Those are some of the things you could look at if you have it written down in a copybook or a notebook like you have here on this page. Or you have, for your young savvy people, you have the budgeting apps, Rooster Money, you have Piggybot, Allowance Plus, Bankaroo, and BusyKid. So those are some of the tools you could use to see how you're budgeting and how you're spending your money. So we have Keisha at age 11. So Keisha at age 11, what are some of the things that you want to save towards at age 11? Anybody? Have any Keishas out there? 11 to 15? Yes?
I'm currently 18, but I actually started saving at the age of 6.
Right, very good. What made you decide to save at age 6?
Well, I would always get money from family members. Not always, but sometimes if I did well at school.
Right,
And since I wouldn't buy anything, I would just give it to my mother or my grandmother to keep it for me.
correct. That's good. That's a very good habit. Yes, and you can even start at age 6. And that's one thing I was going to mention at this age. You find at this age, it's really hard. I mean, I had a daughter this age, and at this age, what do you buy them besides your cell phone? So sometimes you give them money and, but you have to put aside at least some part of it to budget towards a savings, right? Then we have Keisha at a different age group where she'll be looking towards doing tertiary education or some sort of education after she finishes secondary school. You may be looking at entertainment. You might even be looking towards going towards your first car. But always remember, when you're thinking especially of your first car, even though it may sound nice and they have a lot of promotions where you just can go and buy a car with no down payment, etc., a vehicle comes with expenses, which you must remember: gas, insurance, maintenance. So when you're looking towards these things, know you have to put aside a bigger chunk of your money before you work towards these things, right? At JMMB, we have for this age group what we call a youth account. So you start off with the account with your parent or guardian. There's a minimum opening balance of $25. You can make a small deposit as of $20. So if you're getting an allowance, and it's $50 a month, you can put a minimum of $20. You can do standing orders. You can also have a standing order set up. For example, if your parent or guardian wants to give you an allowance, they can set up a standing order to come into your account every month, right? At age 16, though, you get a Visa International Debit Classic card where you pay a one-time fee of $200 to get the card, and there's no monthly maintenance fee on this account. And our Visa International Debit Classic card allows you to do purchases in stores. You can withdraw monies from ATM. And more excitingly, and most of you would like to know, yes, you can shop online, right? So you can purchase that book or your Kindle or whatever you need to do online. After Keisha graduates, so she's finished all her schooling and she graduates, you can graduate now to what we call our booster savings account, where there's a minimum opening balance of $250, all the other amenities that I mentioned before, but the monthly maintenance fee on this account is at $10. And this is an account that can help you really accommodate, like when you start your first job, your salary can come into here, whatever stipend you may be getting at that time, that can facilitate and build a history with the bank for when you move on to the next step. All in all, having a budget and maintaining your savings. So at this stage, you can even have 2 accounts. You can have this savings account and another account where you want to save for a rainy day. So it wouldn't mess up, like if you go to shop somewhere, you dip into your savings. So you get your stipend, your first salary, you put part of it, a little 10% of it to another account, and that will be your fixed savings account going towards, right? So I'm on my end. So I'm just saying your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits. And a good savings habit is a good action is a savings habit where you can cultivate and reach your goals in a shorter frame of time. Do you have any questions for anybody? Any questions for me? That's it.
Yes, thank you very, very much, Ms. Martin, for those wonderful nuggets of information regarding financial management.
But everybody have any questions? I know it was short and sweet. I wasn't seeing who I was speaking to, the one who started to save at 6.
That is Cheyenne. Cheyenne is in Suriname. Cheyenne. She's very eager to learn.
Right.
Very vocal.
Hi, Cheyenne. No, Cheyenne hasn't come on as yet.
No, Cheyenne.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm not seeing you.
Oh, that's Angeli. Hi, Angeli.
Hey, Miss.
Yeah.
Come on, girls. I'm sure you have questions regarding financial management, savings,
Miss, I
etc.
do.
Yes.
Sure.
Miss, I will also open the bank if the youth account if we're 18 and over.
The
youth account. I will also open the youth account if we're 18 and over.
No, from 11. From age 11 to age 18, you can open an account. Then you go over to another regular account once you turn 18.
Okay, Mr. I'm 19, so can I come and still open an account with you guys or no?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Miss.
Yes, you can. Are you working or
No, Miss, just school. School for now, yeah.
Okay, so what you'll have to get is a letter from your parent or guardian just stating that they will be responsible for funding the account.
Okay, no
Meaning
problem.
that any funds coming in, we know it's coming from your parents and what source it's coming from, which is very important as well. One thing I didn't mention with savings, which I just wanted to mention quickly to you all at this stage, always remember 1 and 1 makes 2. So if somebody comes and tell you, if you give me your $20 in 5 months time, I'm going to give you $1,000. That's not realistic. And those are different things that you have to be wary about in this environment, right? We do have people that do susus, and that is fine because that susu is built differently as opposed to people who promising you to triple and quadruple your money in a short frame of time. Those things are not realistic. Right? I see Marilyn. Good morning, Marilyn.
Marilyn is one of our partners in Guyana.
Okay.
She's head up an organization there, so she has collaborated with us.
Oh, okay.
She's been doing a great job in keeping the girls, together. We have some older ladies in Guyana as well on the program.
Okay, right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, hopefully to come to Guyana soon. I don't know how soon, but
JMMB. I'm looking forward for the visit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I would like to encourage all our girls here in Trinidad to go to the banks, talk with your parents and open an account. You need to start to save now. Don't wait.
Miss, like when we can go into JMMB and open the account?
You can come in. Well, right now we're open from 9 to 3 Monday to Friday. At the Port of Spain branch, we don't take appointments. We do walk-ins. The other branches, because of how they are, one is in a mall, one is in a
Miss, I know.
Right. Where are you from?
I'm closer to the one in South Park. I'm from Laramie. I'm closer to the one in South Park.
So that one will take appointments, but we do have online where you can go and take all the forms from our website, and there's an email group that you can email it to, and they will contact you and do a non-face-to-face, because we're really trying to limit the people coming into the bank at this time.
Okay, miss, no problem.
Yes, not a problem.
Yes, ladies, I'd like to encourage you to go onto the website, have a look at the various bank accounts, talk with your parents, and try to organize that as soon as possible.
Yes, it really helps when you start to build these habits from this age, right?
Natalia is in St. Lucia. She's our partner there.
Oh, hi, Natalia. My husband is from St. Lucia, so I think of myself as a St. Lucian as well. From Choiseul.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm trying to ask a question, but I have two little boys just making all that noise in the background.
That's
What I wanted to say, I noticed this is very specific to Trinidad. Do you know of any banks in the other parts of the region that would give some of the services that you're giving? Do you know anything about the other countries?
I can't say for St. Lucia per se, but I know, like I mentioned earlier, we are in Jamaica and DOMREP. So I really can't say about the other banks in St. Lucia this time. Sorry.
Our girls now is from St. Lucia and the other region. It's to search and look for the different the credit unions, especially the credit unions. They have special programs for youth at the credit unions, which is a very good place to save. So I would encourage them to go to the credit unions to see what they can find for the youth.
Right.
Because my son is only 5 and he's there's a Calabash account at one of the credit unions and he's in that he has an account up
Yes,
there.
the credit unions do have different accounts for different age brackets, but I wouldn't be able to speak to that from a place of authority, not being involved in it. But they do have good options as well.
Yes, that is definitely an option, especially for youths. The credit union is a great, yeah. So if you have a credit union
small
in your
community
area,
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So for the girls in the other islands and territories, please check out if you have like, a credit union or whatever your local banks are, and check and see what type of, savings they're offering and get involved in something.
They have credit union also. The banks, some of the banks them allow the children to bank, but the children, the parents have to okay.
Right. So that's the same thing. That's the same thing by us for legal purposes and financial guidelines. Child under 18 cannot open an account on their own. So it has to be with the parents, co-parents. Yeah. And if after 18, like the young lady asks, that if she's not working and she still wishes to open an account, we just need a letter from the parents saying that the funds are coming from her. Of course, if she has a job, she'll bring in a job letter and stuff to replace that. But if she's not working, she'll have to get something from her parent or guardian stating that they'll be responsible to fund the account. Yes.
Good morning, guys. Don't qualify as a young lady, but I still do have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm doing some work with the Widows Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and something that has come up a lot is the importance of young ladies and women having their own financial security. I'm not saying that hide your money and that type of thing, but I'm talking about being able to access your own finances without necessarily having to rely on someone else to build and provide this for you. As a woman speaking to these young ladies, could you give them any more personal advice or pertinent advice as to the importance of them seeking their financial interests for their futures?
Sure. And that's very relevant. And this foundation that you all have started will allow these young ladies to have that sort of financial freedom by exactly what you all are doing in having these financial literacy programs to encourage them and to inculcate in them the fact that it's so important to have financial independence at this stage. And like I said, something has to be practiced to become a habit. So with the knowledge that they are getting now and the opportunity they are getting now as compared to years ago when, you weren't aware or you didn't have people coming out and giving these sort of information to women especially. I think that will be something of a myth in the next 20 years where women, I'm hoping it should be a myth where women would not be financial independent, but it really is important to at least try. So one of the things I would say is, like, for example, to get a good, the girl who wanted to open the account or the one who was saving, some of the ways to really develop and start a financial relationship with the bank, I would say, is like you can take a loan that is fully secured. meaning that we would give you $5,000 invested and have you pay that back over a period of a time. It's two things being achieved there. You are developing a credit history with the bank for us to see how well you can pay, as well as you're also beefing up your sort of security in terms of the monies that you would have saved. It was a faster turnaround time. So it helps when you do little small initiatives like that. So as you grow with the bank and you grow along your trajectory with your work environment, we would lend you more, and it ends up where we might lend you a little bit more unsecured until eventually you might reach a stage where we will feel comfortable knowing, hey, okay, Simone, we've lent you $5,000 at 19, you save, you paid back, we went up to 20, then 50, then 100. So, and at all along, especially at JMMB, what we do is have financial partnership conversations with our clients to really know where it is they see themselves going. It's not all about, so like I mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation, if you come at 19 and tell me you want to buy a car, and yes, you could probably afford it. And, if you're working, let's say, and for some reason, but I'll have to ask you the question, are you aware of the responsibilities that go along with this? And are you prepared for the additional expense that comes with this? So those are the factors that we will always at JMMB try and impress with our clients, really partner with them in their lifelong goals.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. The thing is, these young ladies have different dreams. Some want to be musicians, some want to be vets and doctors, hairdressers, makeup artists. They want to start their own businesses. So the thing is, the idea of, all right, when I reach a certain age, I will magically find money and then just magically start a business. It doesn't happen quite like that. So
No,
I appreciate you even mentioning the fact that there are startup loans and partnerships. So even now, you could start with simple things like a subscription for a course that you want to learn, or saving to start to buy some products so you could start retailing. But just any form of financial literacy and independence from now is an excellent thing to get into. So I want to thank you at JMMB for all the work you guys have been doing.
Not a problem. And as you mentioned, the hairdressers and the nail techs, the people who probably don't get it salaried, you'll have to be disciplined when it is you make that money to pass that money through an account, because that really gives us a true reflection of what your income is. Most people who operate or self-employed, they tend to keep the cash because, I have to buy this, I have to buy this. But the bank would not get a true reflection of what you make. So once you are self-employed or you're going along that route, make sure and pass all your money through the account, even if it's for a day and it has to come back out, for us to get a true reflection of what it is you're earning. So we can assist you when you come to us and say, hey, okay, I want to buy a new hairdryer and it's costing me $2,000 or whatever. And we look in your account and we see no activity. We say you was doing hairdressing, but where the money, right? So those are little things you have to remember, especially as self-employed, those who are looking to go through self-employed.
Thanks very much.
Somebody's raising their hand.
Yes, we have Candace.
Hi, Candace.
Good morning. I'm Candace Ferdinand. I was invited by Mr. Ricardo Mitchell. Thanks for having me this morning. The last statement, Mrs. Martin, that you made, I can testify to that, pertaining to having your income as an entrepreneur pass through your account, whether it be a savings account or a business account, because I am a SPA owner myself.
Right.
And to the young listeners, if you could allow me to motivate them from now as well.
Sure.
It is very important to have a tracing of all your finances, because with that record, to get whether it be a loan for a vehicle, for your house, for an additional loan, to open a business, for anything, it's important to have that information and that statement.
Yes, Yes. Thank you, Candice. Yes, it is. And we are here to help to guide you through that process. Right? We also have set up a SME unit at JMMB where they will introduce you or allow you such services for if you want to set up your marketing side of the business, if you want to, set up anything, budgeting, they will put you on. So if you're starting off, we are JMMB, and this is throughout the region, Jamaica, Domrep, and Trinidad. We do have specialists that you can come into and talk to, and they can guide you through the process and say, well, okay, well, like how Candice just mentioned, they might put you on to someone who's already in the field to say, listen, this person is interested. Maybe you can give us a little tips or guidance of how you got there or what are the challenges you have had. And as Candice rightfully said, that is one of the biggest challenges you would find self-employed indie people will have. So all of you who want, even if at this age you're doing a little nails for your friends or, your eyelashes or eyebrows, put that money as savings so we can see how you're making the money.
Thanks very much, Ms. Martin and Candice as well. I mean, that point cannot be overemphasized because it's good to know from young, because even us as older adults, sometimes we have a business, a little business, and we just take the money and we put it in pocket and put it in purse. And afterwards, we think we're running a business. And as you say, Ms. Martin, you don't know as the bank that we're running a business. So when we come and we tell you, no, we're making $10,000 a month, we really made $10,000, but you have no clue.
I have no clue.
No, so you cannot help us.
And sometimes even in having a conversation with someone who's doing that, when you really drill down with them and you realize, listen, I'm not making money. You'll be surprised when I talk to some people and, when I say, okay, list out, I say, but you're not making money. Yes, you're seeing cash in your hand.
Yes.
And you're purchasing X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, you're not making money. Either your price point is very low, that you're not making your expenses, or you're not making even money for yourself. You have to pay yourself. And one thing about being self-employed, at the end of the day, you have to pay yourself. And I go back to budgeting, where you would list all your expenses related to what you're into, if it's nail polish, shampoo, if you're doing hairdressing or a spa, and then you see if you have an excess. After you do all of that, and pay yourself, you're supposed to have an excess, and that's where you know if you're making money.
Yes, that is so true. Sometimes we just see the money coming in, but then that's just
cash.
Yes, it doesn't really cover, when you take off your expenses, etc. Yeah, it doesn't really add up. So we really need to pass it through the bank and keep good records. I think that is the important part. Noting everything that you spend, noting what comes in, and balancing off your books in order to know really if you're making, And we will go into entrepreneurship. That's one of the other topics that we'll be doing later on this month. So that way they'll learn a little bit more about the importance of, keeping their records, etc.
Right. Not a problem. So just remember, we have our SME unit that we can reach out to for any further assistance.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I love about JMMB. They have so much support. You have your resource center.
Yes.
That persons can gain that support and advice from, etc. And I really recommend JMMB. They're very personal. You don't feel like it's just a bank. They really relate to you. You're part of the family. So girls, I really would encourage the girls in Trinidad to visit the bank with their parents and get everything sorted. And also the girls in the other territories to check out. Because no matter where you are, even if you don't have a JMMB bank in your country, you can save, check out your credit unions or whichever saving institutions you have, and start now. Start to pass your, monies from whatever little jobs that you're doing through your account, even if you have to take it out, as Ms. Martin said, the next day, because sometimes you really need the money. You can't leave it in there.
Yes.
But you need to show the bank, look, I am making X, Y, Z amount of money, even if you're taking it out. And so that when you go to the bank and say, look, I'm making $10,000 a month, I would like a loan, they can look and see. Because only through your records, they can tell. They cannot tell by your word of mouth, right, that you're making money. So that is how it works.
It works, yes. Oh, and one other thing I just want to mention to you all before I go, when you reach that stage to take a loan and, your friend says, can you come on the loan with me? I just need to, as a co-borrower, know that when you take on that responsibility, you are just as responsible for the loan. I know it's not what we had to talk about this morning, but it is something that we have to. It's my granddaughter. Say hi. Yes. So, God, I'm talking. Sorry about that. Yes. So she is, she just drowned my thought. Yes. So always remember that if you go as a co-borrower, you are as financial, as responsible as the other person in yours. And that is something that you have to be wary of, and do not ever take on that sort of commitment or responsibility.
Ms. Martin, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because, sometimes we, trust persons and we said it's a family member and we're going to, co-sign on a loan with them, etc. The person asks you, borrow the money for me, I'll pay it, every month. And when your name's on it, you're responsible.
You are responsible. I've seen too much horror stories along that line, right?
Yes.
Especially for those young ladies in the age bracket 19, 18, who may be in a little relationship and, they say, boyfriend say, take it for me. As Mr. Mitchell said, we have to have financial independence. Okay?
Yes, yeah, that is so true. So ladies, please be aware of that, because it's something that, we as, older adults fall prey to as well. I would say, yeah, we fall prey as well.
Yes.
Because, I'll give you a personal experience. A lawyer told me a few years ago, with respect to, borrowing money together with, someone. He said, be careful, because he said, I'm in court every day, and he said, marriages don't even last 6-7 years. I see it, So if you're in a marriage and you borrow money and you're ending up in situations and you're not even in a marriage, it's even worse, worse off, know. So he's trying to, advise me, be careful in borrowing money with persons, because things can go any direction, and when it goes in that direction, then you are left with that responsibility, So it's information to take heed, because at the time sometimes you think, oh, these people don't know what they're talking about, because you're just so caught up in your situation that you do not take the advice. But please, ladies, take that advice, and be careful of who you're borrowing money together with, who you're co-signing a loan for. Once you put your name on paper with a loan, you are liable.
Liable, correct.
Yeah, you're liable.
Yeah, I had one experience like that. We had farmer group. It's five of us. So they lend us this money, and we used to pay back every month. You have to pay back, say like 13,000, and we continue paying, and one person get red eye, and she left the country. So before that leave back, had to end up paying off what she borrowed.
Wow. Yes. Yeah. It's so true. So ladies, whatever you get involved with, make sure it's something that you can do on your own. You are responsible for it and you can pay it back. But we ourselves as the financial institution, we also have to give that guidance. And many a times we talk to people, and at the end of the day, even if you say yes, sometimes our hands are tied. We say, okay, listen, you have to sign a letter stating, listen, you're aware of what you're going into, because when it falls down, it's always, nobody ever told me.
Yes.
I didn't understand.
I didn't read the fine print.
I didn't read the fine print.
I didn't see that on the paper.
I didn't know that is what you really meant.
Yes.
Right? So just be careful of anything you sign with anybody on terms of borrowing money. Right?
That's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Young ladies, any more questions? I'm sure you got some questions. Now is the time to ask. Any comments? Anybody wants to share any experience that they may have had, any, with saving or with borrowing, etc.? I'll start calling names, Kalisa. Want to share any experiences you've had?
Kelly says was on very early this morning.
Yes.
Yes.
You're here to share experiences, Kalisa. Come on, tell us.
Miss, I never borrow money. Miss, I don't even have money on bank account.
You don't have a bank account?
No, Miss, I didn't hardly save hers.
All right. So I guess you'll be heading to the bank to open an account on Monday, please, Delon.
Yes, and feel free to reach out to me. You have my email address. You can share with anyone. Right?
Okay, great.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. You all are doing a wonderful job. I'm hoping my granddaughter will join in the next, what age they start? 11? You start at 11?
Around 12, 13, but yeah, 11 is...
Have a little while. She have a little while.
a little while again.
Yes.
All right, that'll be
Right.
fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, S.M.A.R.T. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, JMMB, for supporting us financially and otherwise in this venture.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Okay, bye. Right, guys, so that was a really wonderful session by Miss Heather Alexis-Martin from JMMB. She's the branch manager in Port of Spain. Very wise words, young ladies. Please do not take any of it for granted. This is information that you're getting early in your life. Some of us did not get that information very early, and we made a lot of mistakes. So this is to prevent you from making mistakes, as well as to help you set, the trend for great things to come. If you set up yourself early with your bank account and your savings, and we're going into SMART goals. So with the SMART goals, it's going to help you set some financial goals as well. Okay. So it's going to put you on the right track for later on when you decide that you want to, buy an apartment, a house, a car, or pay for your education, open a business, etc. Okay. So we have Mr. Damian Williams all the way in Jamaica with us today. Very special guest. We're so glad to have him. He's going to fill your toolbox today, ladies, with some nice goodies. So, Mr. Damian Williams.
Okay, thank you very much, Simone, for the invitation. And thank you, young ladies, for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. What I want us to be dealing with, talking about today, is the topic of setting goals, setting SMART goals. And we hear that all the time, what the S stands for, what the M stands for, what the A, R, and the T stands for. But I wanted to go a bit deeper than that, because for goals to really be SMART, they have to be based on who you are, right? So often we get caught in the whole idea of setting goals based on perhaps what we see on social media. So we see somebody living a particular way on social media, and we think that is the way that we have to go. But success is an individual thing. Just like your fingerprint is individual and unique, success is unique, and it looks different for all of us. Now, I have worked with people at various stages in their lives. Some people have reached as far as managers and realized that they felt unfulfilled. And why do you think that is so? How is it possible for somebody to achieve everything, and it seems, and still feel unfulfilled? It's because so often we live our lives based on other people's expectations. So as we set these SMART goals today, there are some things that I want you to think about. I want you to think about yourself. Who am I? And what do you need to answer that question? You need to be able to answer the question as to what are the words that describe my personality and my character? What are the values that I hold and believe in? What are my specific dreams? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks it is. If I want to be a farmer or a hairdresser, that's my dream, and it's a legitimate dream. So our goals must be based on who we are, right? So I want you to think about that. Who am I? What are my values? What are my characteristics? What are the things, words that describe my personality. The next thing that I want you to think about as you ask yourself, who am I? Is to think about your special and unique gifts, talents, and abilities. Because if you walk in your gifts and you walk in your talents and you walk in your abilities, you are not going to be trying to knock on any door. Your gifts, your talents, your abilities will open up doors and ways for you. So it is smart to set your goals based on your strengths, based on the things that you're good at, the things that you know you can do, because it will be a less stumbling block in your way. So as I ask Simone to put up this presentation for me, we're going to look at what is a vision. How do I create a vision for my life so that I can set the goals based on that vision? And I'm sure so many of you have visions and dreams for your life. When I was a child, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. I would be on the veranda teaching everything I learned the day in school and beating the wall. When I became a teacher, I didn't beat, of course, but I knew that that is what I wanted to do. And somehow, as I became an adult, I did so many other things before I landed in the classroom. But I never lost sight of the vision that I had for my life. So we're going to look at how do we create vision, and out of the vision, we're going to set goals or targets for getting to the vision. So it's almost like roadmap. Anybody remembers Hansel and Gretel? If you remember the story of Hansel and Gretel, I want you to use your icons and just raise your hand. They dropped breadcrumbs and stones and pebbles. Ah, all of you remember that story. So tablets have not replaced those little stories that have so many great lessons in them as we were growing up as children. They threw breadcrumbs and they threw pebbles to remind them of the journey, to remind them of the way that they need to follow. So your goals are those little breadcrumbs that get you to the vision that you would have for your life. Because I want us to know how it is that we go about setting a vision. And a vision must have three main parts for it to be considered a smart vision, because we don't just want a broad vision out there that is not specific, that is not working towards anything. So, and visions can always change at different stages in our lives. Yeah. So you could have a 5-year vision, you could have a 10-year vision, you could have a 25-year vision, right? I like to do visions in the period of 5 years. Yeah. It always gives you a chance to renew, to set new targets, and to think about down. All right. So we're creating the vision. And one of the things that we realize about vision is that visions are not a one size fit all. They are very, very, very unique to the individual. So anybody wants to say what is a vision? When you think of a vision, what comes to mind? You could write it in the chat, or you could turn your mic on and just share. What is a vision? When you hear the word vision, what comes to mind?
A dream.
A dream. Yes? Anybody else?
Career.
A career. A career could be part of your vision. Anybody else?
Something you want to achieve.
Something you are
Something you
called
want
to
to
work on.
achieve. Okay, yes, yes. So all of those are part of vision. And to put it simply, a vision is just a picture of where you would be in the future. So I want you guys to do this for me. Just engage me in this activity for a while. Close your eyes. And I want you to picture your life 5 years from now. Where are you? What are you doing? What have you achieved? What are the changes that have taken place in your learning? The changes that have taken place in your appearance? The changes that have taken place in the way that you live? Do you like the vision that you're seeing? Who wants to
Yes.
share their vision with us? Who wants? I'm going to take 3 people sharing their vision with us. Don't be shy. One of the ways, the good things about sharing your vision that I have learned, I have a group of friends. Together we run a foundation that helps young people in Jamaica from inner city communities with educational opportunities. This year we're giving away 34 scholarships. But that was a vision that we had. And I shared it with my friends. Every vision that I share with my friends, they hold me accountable. Where are you with that vision? What have you done towards accomplishing the vision? How can I help? So there is value in sharing your vision. So don't be shy. It's not silly. Just share, be bold and brave. And when you speak it, there is something in you that is ignited to want to make it happen. So who's going to go first?
Me.
Ah, brave girl. So let's go. Let me hear your vision.
So, my vision was that I'll have my own G-Wagon, driving to my own graduation, and I'll get all A's and no B's. And I will get a scholarship, and I'll get to go overseas and do different stuff. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I saw, and who was that speaking to me? I didn't just see the name. Princess? Okay, I saw Cheyenne's hands up.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, in 5 years, I am a high value feminine woman. I am emotionally, financially, spiritually secure. I have high standards. I have firm boundaries. I respect others as others respect me. I help others on their level up journey. And I am surrounded by high quality people that value their space, their time, and do not just waste their energy on things that do not serve the highest good, as I am aligned with those people.
Wow.
That was
Great.
my vision.
Great, Sharon. And that's a great vision, right? So we create a vision first, okay, if there's no more. Now, as we create that picture in our mind, it's important that we write the vision down. Now, a vision basically has 3 parts. So all that you guys have said are great to have in a vision. But as we write the vision down, we'll write it down in 3 parts. So first, you must have an unforgettable and inspiring summary of what describes your why, your reason for existence, or your deepest aspirations. One that clearly says not just where you are going, but why you are going there. Yeah? So, we heard from the first presenter who said that they would want to get all A's. So that is where you would going, where you are going. We want to also say the why part of it, right? So that's a clear, succinct statement about where you're going and why. You must also have a statement about what you are trying to achieve that adds value to others. And I heard Cheyenne talking about adding value to others. Because you see, the thing about vision, the most powerful visions are not just about ourselves. The most powerful visions are about how it is that our lives can impact others. And here is why. Because there is a little book called Go Giver. And there are some 5 secrets to amazing success in it that I have found to be very, very effective. They've worked in my life. that when we live our lives in service to others, the more people we serve, the more our influence increases, the more people hear about the service that we give, and the more people are willing to give us opportunities. Now, I live in Jamaica, but I'm not Jamaican. And many Jamaicans wonder how it is that I have gotten the opportunities that I have gotten. It's not because I'm smarter than most. It's not because I am luckier than most. It's because I have sought to serve, volunteer where I can. Yeah, use my training, use my gifts, use my abilities to help others. So the most powerful visions are surrounded about how can I add value to others. The third thing you must have in your vision is a limiter. You must, and Cheyenne talked about setting boundaries. You must set boundaries to your vision, else you can spread yourself so thinly that you become burnout and tired and discouraged and demotivated. That is why many of us, after we set a vision and we do our goals, we don't have the energy to follow through. So you have a limiter. And what is a limiter? A limiter is that thing that helps you to rule out certain opportunities which do not contribute to the vision. So, for example, I have a vision, an example of my own vision in this workbook. To assist children and families. That is my succinct statement of what I want to do. I want to assist children and families. That is what I know. That is why I became a teacher. That is why I got involved in the media. That is why in social interest stories. That is why I got involved in community and social development. Right? Because I wanted to help children and families. Now, my limiter is in purple, right? Where do I want to help these children? No, I cannot help children all over Jamaica. I am one person, right? So I am focusing my assistance in inner city communities. So I've shrunken down the role of where my vision is going to take me, at least for now, in the next 5 years. Maybe as I get older, the vision would change because I would want to do other things. But for these 5 years, this is what I want to do. I want to assist children and their families in inner city communities. How am I going to assist them? Now, I know I'm not rich. I don't have a whole heap of money, so I don't want to give them things. Yeah? I would leave scholarship and all of that to the foundation that I am a part of. So I want to help them through the use of music, drama, and the fine arts. Why? Why do I want to help children and families in the city? And that's the green. That's the inspiring summary of my why. Right? This is my why. Because I want to enrich and add value and be a part of children's life. I want to enrich children's life. I want to add value to their life. I want when a child or their family encounters me that their lives are better off, are richer, are fuller. And so that is the vision that I've created for my life. Now, out of your vision now would come the goals. So the goals say, how do I achieve that? The goals answer the question of your vision. How do I get to that place of assisting children and their families in the inner city communities? How do I get to getting all A's? I can't just wish it. I can't just dream it. I can't just think, oh gosh, this is what I want and hope it happens. Right? I have to put in the work. And that is the thing about visions. Visions take work to come alive. And so We must put in the work. Now, we would send you guys out in breakout groups, and what you would do is that you would write your own vision for your life, remembering those 3 parts that I've color coordinated. You'd remember your why you're doing this. You'd remember what is it that you want to do, a short statement of the what you want to do. I want to get all A's in CXC. That's a vision, right? Why do I want to get all A's in CXC? Because I want scholarship to higher level education so that I can help myself and my family, empower us economically. That is your why, your inspiring why, right? And I want to get all A's in the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 subjects that I'm doing. That's your limiter, right? For Cheyenne, you are thinking about the alignment of your energy and having people of greatness around you, setting those boundaries. Yeah? So you're going to form that in your why, your what, and the thing that is going to limit you to not spread yourself too thinly. So you may want to limit how many people are going to be part of your inner circle. Yeah? Because that's a lot of energy that you would have to expend. Now let's move on to the goals, because we want to send you guys in the groups to do this quickly. Let's move on to the SMART goals. And what do we mean by SMART? The S in SMART stands for specific. That your goal must be specific. I must be able to not have to ask questions. So what is that? What is that? When you say this is my goal, I must know, okay, this is very, very specific. The M stands for measurable. I must be able to decide whether or not you have reached your goal by a particular standard that your goal itself has set for you, right? It must be attainable. It must be something that is within your reach. So, I know that the first contributor wants to travel, but traveling won't be possible if you don't have a passport. Yeah? So, you set a goal of something that is attainable, or you want to go to the moon. You say you want to go by the end of this year. My Lord, have you gone to do the necessary training to learn how your body works with gravity? That is the kind of thing we're talking about when we're talking about attainable. Yeah? Think about what's within your reach. My granny would say, live within your means, or don't stretch your hand where you don't hang your hat where your hand can reach. That kind of proverb. Make sure that it's something that is doable, that you know based on your abilities. Remember earlier we talked about your abilities, your talents, your strengths. Yeah, make sure that it's within your abilities. The R stands for relevant. Is this thing going to take me closer to the vision that I've created? How can I be talking about Sachet that I want to set boundaries for my life, respectable boundaries for my life, and yet I want to go to every party and I want to hang around any crowd, and I'm choosing any kind of friends that do not serve my vision, that are not on the same path with me. You understand what I'm saying? So the goals that you set must be relevant to where you are going. And the T means that you must have a timeline. You must have a timeline. So it must have an expiry date and all of that on it. When do you want to achieve this thing by? right? So we have an example of what it looks like. So you may want to start saving more, for example. To simply say, I want to start saving more is not a SMART goal. A SMART goal would say that I want to save $50,000 a year for the next 5 years. It is measurable because you've said the amount and you said the time period that you wish to save it for. It is specific, right? Because you gave a specific number. It is realistic based on how much you know you earn. It is attainable based on how much you know you can earn. It is relevant because you want to start saving more. That is the goal. And it is time bound. You have a timeline on it, right? So this is how you go about ensuring that you meet the S, the M, the A, the R, and the T. We are going to allow you to break up in groups. You're going to come back and then we're going to go through all of it. The rest of your teammates are going to assess it to see if it is SMART, and then we're going to take the questions because I want you to learn from each other before I come in with my intervention. Is that okay?
So young ladies, I hope you have learned how to set SMART goals in your life. Thank you very much for sharing some of your visions with us. So what we're going to do is break you up into a few breakout rooms. Now this time you will not have a facilitator taking the lead. You young ladies would choose a leader within your group. So just give yourself like 2 minutes, and decide who's going to be the leader in the group. Remember, part of this program is about teaching you leadership skills. So this is an opportunity now for you to take the lead, discuss amongst yourself what your vision might be, and align your goals with your vision. Okay, so in the group, maybe you could just decide one person, and just decide on one vision and the goals that goes with it. Okay. If everybody does their own separate thing, then you choose one person to present. Okay, so the leader will be in charge of coordinating the group. Okay. Is that okay? Does anybody have any questions before we go into the breakout rooms?
I do.
Sure.
So we can have our separate goals. We have to make one together.
You can have a separate if you decide, but just one person from the group will be presenting. So if you have separate goals, then you'll decide who will present their goals, or you can, as a group, discuss maybe one set of goals, one vision, one set of goals attached to that vision, and present it. So it's up to you how you decide. Yeah. So that's where leadership comes in now. So amongst yourselves, you pick a leader and you can decide, okay, and use your initiative. So we're going to give you an opportunity to interact amongst yourself and that space to, to exercise your own leadership and decision skills, right? Hi guys, welcome back.
Hi, Miss. Hi.
We're supposed to all be back. I'm just checking to make sure. Hi, Damian, are you there?
I am right here.
All right. Perfecto.
So let's hear those visions and some of those goals. Each of you will get a workbook at the end that you can keep practicing with some examples in it. But for the purpose of today, we just want you to share. So who's going to go first? Which group is going to go first?
Me.
Okay, go ahead.
So our goal was to get straight A's for next term. So how we could do this is we could go on learning websites, study more, create study groups, research, and do past exam papers. So yes, and why we are doing this is to get a scholarship, to get into a good school, and to get more learning opportunities, and to teach others, to benefit and pass knowledge to others. And now it is how.
Right. So now you're going to do your SMART goals.
We do this by participating in class, going to school every day on time, listening and submitting homework to high standards, and working hard in every subject. And when is during the summer and term for 1 hour each subject a day. Yes, so that is to get straight A's for next term.
All right. Yes. So you had your vision to get straight A for next term. You had your why in your vision because you wanted scholarship, right? And you had your how you were going to be doing the study through the study papers and what have you. You set your goals. You're going to attend class every day. You're going to study for 1 hour so you can measure it. Now, if I look and I see you study for 45 minutes every day, have you attained your goals? Even if you study every day and it's for 45 minutes, have you attained your goals?
Well, not yet, because
No, right. Why?
we have to do the tests and
Right, but not just the test yet. Remember your goal said 1 hour every day. 45 minutes, even though you're consistent every day, you did not meet your goal because you did not meet the standard that you set, right? So we cannot sell ourselves short. Even if we get all A's, the end was not supported by the process. So the goal is really about the process, you know. If you follow the process and you do not achieve your vision, then you have not failed. And this is why we do the SMART goals, because sometimes we're so pressured with the result when we should be focused on the journey, because the lesson and the learning is in the journey. My grandmother used to say, do your best and that will be good enough, right? Because sometimes we do our best and we don't get the result. It's not the result you must focus on, it's the process. And your goal is the process. Is the how do you get there to the vision? Once you've done everything that you said you're going to do, one of the things that you would have achieved in the process is self-discipline. And that is a success. Another thing that you would have achieved in the process is that you would have imbibed, you would have learned, you would have gathered information that you would never lose. So even if you don't get the straight A's, the process you would have been successful on. Remember at the beginning, I talked about how success is not a standardized thing. It is defined based on you, your abilities, who you are, the goals that you set, because the goal is the process. So I want you to remember that as you set SMART goals, that life and the journey of life is more about the lessons you learn through the process than the end result. Because you could sell yourself short and still end up with the result that you wanted, but you would not have gone through the process. So you'd have taken a shortcut and you would not have fully developed all that you needed to develop to sustain the result. Because you're not fully formed. So at the end of the day, you get the result, but at some point, it is going to flop because the process wasn't followed. So that was really great. I like that first group. Let me hear the second group.
So
Go ahead,
I
China.
took my group to write down their goals within the next 6 months, and I listed from every person in my group, I listed one important goal of them. For Angeli, that was to finish her education. For Mr. Ricardo, that was to be responsible with his administration. Miss Utalia would love to launch her TV station. Charissa would love to be owner of a hospitality company. Samantha would like to help animals. She wants to become a vet. And Miss Debbie would like to start a platform on mental health issue where people can open up about their mental health. And I would love to evolve in my spiritual health and master the art of setting firm boundaries and also become physically stronger.
Right. Anybody wants to comment on those goals?
Those are
Was
great
there
goals.
any? Yes. Go ahead, Princess.
I think those goals are amazing, and
Because those are really great goals to have. But remember, we also want them to be SMART.
Yes. And I was just about to say that she was not able to capture because we had to say what we have done to achieve those goals, how we were going to achieve them, and at what point are we in achieving those goals. We had to say all of those in the group. But because she took each of us goals, it was difficult for her to put all of that to come and
Okay.
So when she asked me, I said I wanted to finish my prospectus and my proposal for my professional administrative study. And she went on to ask me, what is it that I have done thus far?
Those are SMART, since we have the timeline.
Yes.
So the 6 months is the timeline. So
Yes,
I think
yeah,
the first one also have a timeline? First group, did you also have a timeline? Because I might have missed yours.
The timeline was to summer to the term.
Okay then. Any other group?
I'll go for my group.
Okay, go ahead.
Our goal is to do our best in school through being attentive, raising our hands, studying on time, having a proper schedule, and to say when we don't understand. And at the end, we would be successful in the future and fulfill our dreams. That's it.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll go for my group.
Mm-hmm.
So our vision is to one day travel the world, and the goal is to learn about the experience, learn and experience the new things in the world around us, to learn the culture of the different countries in the world, to learn about the history of the specific place that you're going to travel to, and yeah, that's it.
All right. Anyone else?
Yes. Our group is to try to become nicer in 4 months, because it is always good to be nice to someone, as you don't know what they are going through, and how we're going to compliment someone and tell them that they rock.
Okay. Anybody else?
Rebecca, what group were you in?
By the way, I'm grinning like this because I'm loving not just how you guys are coming up with the goals, but recognizing that the goals are so varied and all of them are legitimate. Your goals doesn't have to sound like the other person's. So I'm smiling because that is so coming out so powerfully. Next group.
I would like to go for my group. So like the goal we also came up with was to travel the world, right? And the way we're thinking about going along with that is to make a list of the countries you want to travel to, make a time frame like how long you want to get it done in, if you want to do it in 1 year, 1 month, 1 week for the month, or whatever the case may be, to learn about the country. So kind of have a financial plan to kind of plan out how much money you want to spend on traveling and to learn new languages.
All right, sounding good.
Well, that was Ciara. You're in group 1, right?
I don't even know which group I was in, so
Yeah,
I
you were in
guess.
group one. Okay, great, right. Any other groups again? I believe we would have covered everyone.
We covered everybody?
Yeah, we got all the groups.
Okay. All right. Let me say this before we open up for questions. This is an example of what we've heard today, and this is how I wanted it to happen, and it happened that way. That we got an opportunity to see that each of us is unique and different and special in our own way. And because of that, our vision for our lives and our goals will be different. I think a lot of the times we get squeezed into a mold that says to us, we have to conform, we have to be like somebody else. Remember the first time I spoke with you, I told you that you have to learn to rebel. And not in a bad way, but rebel in a way that asserts and stands in the truth and in the power of your real self. Yeah? And these goals today helped us to understand and to appreciate those. And don't have some people had goals that had to do with physical appearance. Some people had to do goals that deal with leisure and pleasure, traveling. Some people had goals to do with education and business. Yeah? And that is how we go about you. You guys did your vision that says your why. You guys had your measurable, smart, and timely goals. I think there was one group I missed it for, the one who said 6 months, but that is how we set goals. You have to put yourself within a time frame and give yourself the time and the steps, the activities to work towards. Some talked about, yes, their studies, but you saw they gave themselves activities, whether it was studying, whether it was joining something online, whether it's participating more in class. These activities will support your goals. And you went a step further than I went with you today. And that showed initiative, that showed leadership, but it also shows that you're thinking about your life in a deep and meaningful way. This helps us to stay on course, stay on path, and to not be distracted and sidetracked by all of the other things that come at us and life throws at us. So do we have any questions? And I think I got that from what I just said there, from one of the groups that shared. Yeah? So thank you. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to make a comment. I think this was a very wonderful exercise for both the girls and the facilitators like me. And I just want to, a thought came to me. I read a book once. It says, enjoying where you are on the way to where you're going. So you mean you go through, and when you said about the process, that the process is also a learning a point. The process is a goal too. Going through that process teaches you so much. And we never see the process as part of the learning curve. We only see the goal. But when you said about the process, it just brought to mind enjoying where you are on the road to where you're going. And once you do that, you will enjoy the entire process to the goal instead of just going for the goal without realizing the things that you're learning on the way to that goal.
Yes. Beautifully said. I couldn't have said it better. And I hope, young ladies, that you heard that, because that was powerful. Enjoy where you are on the way to where you're going. I'm going to look for that book.
Yes, thanks very much. I really echo the sentiments as well that you, Talia, said. It really is about enjoying the journey along the way, because sometimes you're in such a hurry. I mean, it's happened to me. I can testify of it. And you just want to get where you have to get. Like you're in university and you think, oh, I just want this to be over with, and you're not enjoying the process. You're not enjoying that whole experience, that whole time of your life. So you want to rush down those 3-4 years, and then you have something else to do again. And I just want to get it over and done with. And when you look back now, you think, oh my gosh, I really should have enjoyed that time, that process, because you don't get back time. Time is something you don't get back. So you really need to enjoy each step, each step of the way. Just keep enjoying and not just wanting to reach the so-called destination, because it's really about the journey. It really is, you know, about the journey. So we have to just take it in and enjoy each day as it comes. So I really echo those sentiments.
Yes, as I had in mind, winning is in the journey. So whether or not I get a scholarship, it really doesn't matter. I have done my best. I am a winner.
Yes, you are. You are a winner. And that's what we have to know. We are winners, you know. We are winners. Each day we get up and we have health and strength and life, and we plan for the next, you know, and we set our goals, and we are winners, and we go through the process. It's about going through the process. So each day you are a winner, despite whatever happens. I like that.
I wanted to share something based on what Damien said. He talked about, when he talked about his goal, and he said not stretching yourself too thin in terms of the goal. And I really want to, I think that really resonated with me, and I had to do a lot of reflecting and changing the way I do things. And what I noticed is when I started to open my mind and change certain things, like God would connect me to people that would help me to reach that goal. So even within our session, it happened because I remember in 2004 when I was studying, I had gone to a church service, and the pastor at that time, he called me up and he told me that God was going to use me to do a great work in the Caribbean, in the island. So I know I could not have stayed in the state. I had to come back to the island. So I keep saying that to myself, but at the end of it, I realized even if that was the word that was spoken over my life, there is no way I can do. Oh, I mean, living in Dominica, and there's no way that I could reach all the islands. Now my focus is on creating the awareness of the challenges of persons with disabilities and getting people to understand that despite persons' disabilities, that they can still, they have potential. So I started my school in Dominica, but I know there is so much more that can be done, because if every island gets this connection, then we will all be having what is called like an Access Caribbean. Now, during the COVID, I became a member of a WhatsApp group, and that was all it was all about. But eventually I find the WhatsApp group, it kind of take a different, it wasn't going in the direction. So I started to lose that kind of motivation to be in that group. And when we were in our group, then Utalia was sharing her vision and what she wanted to do. And the vision is actually coming to reality. And right there and then, when she shared what she wanted to do, I was like, but Utalia, I have some animation series that my son helped me to prepare as part of a project for UNICEF. And so there we were able to connect. So even if I'm in Dominica and Utalia has her station in St. Lucia, but the material that I produce will be on her TV station. And then at the end of the day, when UNICEF gave us the project, they said they wanted a regional impact. So it's going to fulfill the mandate of having a regional impact. And then I don't have to do all the work. I don't have to be running like a chicken without head trying to fulfill a vision of reaching the Caribbean. There are other persons within the Caribbean that you can connect with. So that really stayed with me. And when I start practicing it, Damien, I find that I am less tired, I'm less stressful, because we just want it to be done, because we feel like it is an urgent thing. And if it's not done, people don't get it. But people will get it if you take your time and communicate with them and be open to hear their perspective. So I really did appreciate that part, because it kind of resonated with me. And this is where I am right now in the learning process of understanding that even if I have the vision, even if the vision was given to me and I have that goal, I just have to know how to communicate it to other people or be strategic in my alignment and my connection. So there are some persons, I just pray them out. I didn't tell them to leave. God just take them out. And because they were baggage. You know, Leah gives you a certain amount of courage that you can carry on the plane. So where I was going, they were just weighing me down. It was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea, but they're not doing anything about it. So, but then in connecting me with the right people and hearing the different things and taking notes, I'm okay if I need. So that in itself is all part of reaching the goal in terms of letting some people go and putting on some people, because everybody can only reach to a certain point in the vision.
Sister,
Yes.
preach it,
Thank
sister.
you so
This
much
is
for
a
that, Deb.
sermon. Damian, this is a
Thank you
sermon.
so much for
Evolution
yes.
preached
Thank you
sermon.
for that. That is powerful.
Oh
I don't
my
know how
God.
Simone is going to. Simone, I don't know how you're going to do it. If but Simone has the workbook, and there's a part of the workbook that talks about auditing our relationships, because our relationships are so important, and people are so important to where we're going.
Yeah.
Some will be destiny helpers, but some will be the baggage that you talk about there. And so friendship audits are important because we need others in the accomplishment of our goals.
Yeah.
And so there is a part in the book where I talk about creating your asset maps. And people are an important part of our asset map, but people can also be detrimental. And that's why
Yes.
when Cheyenne talks about alignment and creating that community, it is so important that we travel with people who are going in the same direction as we
Yeah.
are. Yeah. And so what you said is so, so powerful. And I'm glad that you said it. I'm really glad that you said it. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
The baggage part had me. The baggage part.
Natalia, the
That
same.
had me.
Oh, and,
Yes.
and I remember Liat. I remember Liat to leave
Yes.
your luggage anywhere.
Luggage at any transit.
I can testify, when you're carrying that baggage, you cannot get to your destination. It is just too much. You need to let go. You really need to do that audit of, I mean, I wouldn't even say on a yearly basis at least, but even in between, every 6 months or so, just assess the people around you, what's serving a purpose, what's not serving a purpose, negativity, positivity, and just section them off. And I think you make it like a New Year's resolution. Over the past few years, I've been making it like a New Year's. God, I'm coming into the new year. XYZ, that's not going into the new year with me, and you just keep moving, moving people in and out as it goes, because you need to be on a certain path. And if somebody's not going in that direction with you, you've got to free up that space, for the right type of people to come in.
True.
Yeah. That's what it's about. I think we probably lost Damien. We had a connection issue. But you have to be mindful of the people in your circle, assess your circle, and keep cleaning up your circle, moving people out and making room for the right type of people to come on the journey with you, because not everybody is equipped for this journey. Not everybody you can carry on this journey.
Yeah.
So yeah. So as you make room, as you clear out, you would see things just start to happen. And it's like, wow, how did this happen? And it's because you're clearing out the negativity and you're making room for the positivity. And as I've started to clear out over the years, I said, no, you're not going with me in the new year. This is friendship or this whatever is not serving, any of us, any purpose, and you keep moving on. And I mean, I have a philosophy that, I need to be serving you a purpose and you need to be serving me a purpose. We need to be serving each other. Whatever circle you're in, you need to be serving a purpose, for each other. Both parties need to be benefiting. And if that's not the case, it's time to assess. So this is something that I think you, the young ladies, should learn very early in life. Sometimes we don't take the advice. And I clearly remember as a teen, this was something that my mom tried to tell me. But I didn't really understand until much later in life. I understood, when you go through certain things, and you realize that, you really have to stick with people that you can gain something from and that you can give something to, otherwise it becomes detrimental to your whole, survival and your goals and where you're going. So as a teenager, sometimes you don't understand it. I didn't get it until much later on, but you need to get it early. So save yourself some mistakes. Ricardo, you wanna share any words?
Ricardo should maybe take Damian's space for now.
Yeah, Damian having his internet connection.
I want to segue from Damien's contribution into the other aspect of the discussion, because we're talking a lot about goals and SMART goals. And I want to lend that information to leadership. A couple months ago, I remember telling someone, not because you could make a roti means you could run a roti shop. There are many things that you might be good at, but it does not necessarily mean that you are in a position to create and manage a system, to build a community, to maintain proper business ethics and work standards. The premise is, while you might like something, you may not necessarily be good at it. And while you might be good at something, that does not mean that you are good at leading in it. A lot of these SMART goals we've discussed have been based on things that we would like to do. But leadership is not so much about what you would like to do, it's about who you have to be. It is about work that you don't do externally, but work that you do internally so that you could help others do their work. Regionally, we have a tendency to see leadership as being in charge of, seeing leadership as being responsible for. If I am in charge of people, well, then they do what I want. But if I'm responsible for people, I do what they need. The relationship, leadership is an expression of a relationship that is focused on helping other people fulfill their SMART goals, of helping other people to reach their vision. Because as a leader, the people on your team, the people in the community, the people you surround yourself with, supposed to share a similar vision. So I'm going to ask that we apply some of the same principles, not just to work that we want to produce and to things that we want to do and things that we would like to achieve externally, but to consider, if we cutting off all of these people around us who not doing anything to help us, what have we been doing to help ourselves? What have we been doing to help them? Who are we in terms of adding value to our own value chain, or to other people's value chain? I could cut off everybody who dragging me down and still not make any progress, not because of what they were doing, but because of what I am not doing. I like to use the example of littering as showing the difference between fault and responsibility. Now, if my neighbor keeps throwing rubbish in the drain and the drain flood, it is not my fault. The neighbor was the one who was throwing things in the drain. The drain clog up, but now water running in my yard. Now, because it is affecting me, it may not be my fault, but it now becomes my responsibility. Because saying is the neighbor caused it is not doing anything to help me fix it. Responsibility and leadership is about acknowledging what must be done and finding the best way to get there. Leadership is a case of there are things that have happened that is not my fault, but I have accepted responsibility for them. I am going to try to make things better. I am going to try to solve a problem. I'm going to try to be a better person. There are people who did things to me and it was not my fault, but I could be how vexed with them. I could blame them for the rest of our natural lives. If I don't take responsibility for getting better, then they will go on and they will get better and they will do better and I will still be stuck where I was with what happened to me because it was my fault. So leadership now is acknowledging that while something may be someone else's fault, as a leader, because I have an objective, I now have a responsibility for it. Recognizing in other people what they are capable of, what they can contribute, or as we so pointed out, what they might be hindering. There are people we let go from our relationships and our lives because of what they're doing to slow you down. And that is one part of it. Establishing boundaries is one thing, but setting a standard is something else. Now that I get all the baggage out of the way, I get all the dead weight cut off, I could still not go a single place because you know what I had all the time? Excuses. When you remove everything that is stopping you from achieving your objective and you still do not get there, now you have another thing to consider. I now have to take responsibility for where I'm going because I can no longer blame what was keeping me back. Another step is to analyze yourself. What do I need to progress? What do I need to become to get where I want to go? And leadership is recognizing that in others and coordinating and serving and creating an environment that gets everyone to their goal. Leadership is very, very difficult. It is not as simple as just being brave and taking front. Sometimes it's about learning when to let other people lead. It's about learning when to let other people speak. It's about listening long enough so that when you reply, you are addressing the team's needs, or you are applying your energy to the mission, to the objective, and not to your own personal motivation. Because you know what? If my neighbor is littering, I could say, I'm not cleaning nothing because it's my neighbor litter and it's my neighbor have the drain flooding. But it coming in your house, it coming in your yard. You could say to yourself, my responsibility is to my yard. But as a leader, I could not just clean the drain, I could talk to the neighbor about what it is he's doing and how it is impacting us, because there will be another neighbor who yard flooding. And now, as a leader, I take responsibility for what happening to that other person. Leadership is about extending your responsibility in areas that are not your fault. It is about achieving an objective and getting the other people on your team and in your community and in your organization to obtain this goal, to reach this place. I don't want to get too long into lecture because you know me, I could talk, but I also like stories. I may not have put it there, but it might be my responsibility to move it. And I could be how vexed and I could be how upset and I could ask somebody to help me and they don't show up when I want them to show up. They don't show up how I expected them to show up. They don't show up with what I needed from them. But if they showed up, as a leader, I now have to assess the resources available to me, remind myself of what my goal is, and find a way to utilize the resources that are made available to me to fulfill my goal. So your friend will tell you, don't worry about lunch. I will bring lunch for you tomorrow. And then the next day, they bring something you don't even eat. And you're thinking to yourself, but you tell me I was going to bring lunch, and now I can't eat this. Find someone who does eat it, and you trade lunches. What I'm saying is about assessing the situation and trying to meet the objective. But staying vexed with your friend and quarreling with them because they bring the wrong thing, not helping you eat, and you might ruin their appetite. And they would have been trying to help you. And because they didn't help you in the manner that you expect them to, you now sour a relationship and they don't want to help you going forward. Leadership is about negotiating, changing environments, and managing different expectations. So I'm going to ask you guys in closing, because I could go long. In assessing the relationships around you, in auditing your friendships, also consider that there is one common factor to every situation you have ever been in, and it is you. You have a responsibility that while you are cleaning outside, that you'd clean inside. You have a responsibility to look at yourself and say, in 6 months, I might want to achieve this, but in 6 months, I also want to be this. And the be this might be less argumentative. It might be more polite or more patient. It might be more grateful. And you can set steps. I love the goal that said, we are going to compliment people and tell them that you rock. I love that. Be nice. That was a beautiful goal for me because it was an external thing that required an internal behavior. I loved that goal because it was not about doing something, it was about being something. And the way to express becoming that thing was by doing something. I loved it. And that is the kind of work that we could do for ourselves. We could say, listen, Angeli asked me a question. Mr. Ricardo, why don't you celebrate yourself? And then the meeting closed and it gave me a lot of time to think about it. And I'm still going to have to think about it. The catch is, are we being fair in assessing our relationships if we do not assess ourselves? Are we saying, well, them don't like me, so I wouldn't bother? How is that going to help you in 6 months? How is that going to help you in a year? How is that going to help you reach where you're going? What I'm saying is, be fair in your assessment. Be fair. The other people in our lives are not the only people who are keeping us back. Sometimes we keep ourselves back. We get in our own ways. And sometimes when there is nothing to stop us from going forward, it is what we are holding on to that is keeping us from moving. And it does not always have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing that has expired. So leadership is about applying SMART goals in a responsible manner to your community. On that note, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to contribute. I see Commissioner Cole's hand is up.
May I?
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
Excellent points, Ricardo. And as you were speaking, immediately I tried to complement what you are saying with what is critical to leadership, which is the style that you adopt. So when you look at your Prime Minister, Dr. Keith, ask yourself, is he an authoritarian leader? Because leadership has to do with the style you have adopted. Is he a democratic leader? Is he a laissez-faire leader? Is he a transformative leader? Because the style at which you are going to adopt in your leadership will determine your success as well. When you look at the British Prime Minister, when you look at Maya Motley, when you look at the Jamaica Prime Minister, what type of leadership style do they have? What type do they exemplify? Because if it's a democratic leadership style, then everyone participates in the decision-making process. If it's an authoritarian leadership style, then it's a top-down. Maximum leader is what I decide, and that's it. If it's a laissez-faire type of style, then it also gives credence to persons within the sphere that they can come up and take leadership. So you have to determine what type of leader do you really want to be. Do you want to be transformative? And your style would determine that, which you would have adopted. In doing Machiavelli, the Prince, Machiavelli determined that for leaders, people follow them based on two important factors. He said it's either fear or love that would make people comply. But he went on to say something very critical. He said fear was more dependable. And if you would have analyzed the leadership of the former US president, Donald Trump, you would have recognized that he used fear as his most potent weapon in order to drive people to do things. And he's still doing that now. And that is why he was impeached twice, but never convicted, because the people around him still fear him on to this day. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cole and Ricardo. I think we could always count on Ricardo to bring that balance, you know, and I really appreciate his remarks, because it showed us where, you know, we have that responsibility, even though something may not be our fault. It shows us where we could be our own hindrance at times. So even in getting rid of, you know, persons or hindrances in your life, you have to look within, right, and see who you have become or who you are becoming. And you have to work on becoming someone and not just looking on the external to attain certain things. We have to always keep that in mind. Thank you very much, Commissioner Cole, because leadership styles, you know, it's always good to be aware, because everybody's different and will, you know, be more comfortable with either or, you know, or mixed up leadership styles. So we have to be aware of that. Did Candice want to say something?
Listening to Ricardo, there's a lot of value in what he was saying. And to hear this from a tender age of 11 up is a wonderful thing. And it's my first session with you all sitting and listening on. And I wish I was an 11-year-old hearing this when I was that age, right? So it has a lot of value, and all the children listening on today, please take in everything. It's important. And I want a recording of this because I need to be reminded of what Ricardo just said as an adult still, right? So thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you very much, Candice. Thank you for those words. We really do need to be reminded. I myself, I mean, I felt as though he was, personally speaking to me, and many of us may feel that based on what, we are going through, that, the words were directly meant for us. Because, we each have to be reminded day by day of our responsibility of becoming, who we are becoming, and looking inside and evaluating ourselves. Because sometimes we ourselves could really be that hindrance in our progress, so in clearing out the people on the outside, we got to clean out, the inside as well, and always keep that in mind. Okay. Right. Do we have any other remarks, Commissioner Cole?
Yes, I just wanted to say that sometimes what actually is keeping us back is an old hurt, a trauma that we are still battling with. And the group that have the goal of actually creating a mental health platform to help persons who are suffering to release, that is a wonderful goal and a vision, because many times we need to have a space, a safe space that we can release that hurt. And sometimes we go through life carrying so much of baggages from past hurts, and we have learned to accommodate our hurts that we do not even recognize that we still are carrying that old energy that keeps us back. It is until we are able to release and become new. It is like a baptism. When you go to say you give your life to Christ, or you become, or you meditate and you become this new person, you rejuvenate. That is because you would have let go of what held you back. And sometimes our traumatic childhood experiences can hold us back. But if we are able to release that in a safe space, we can move forward and become beautiful beings that can help others to release as well. I thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Cole. I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't have to say anything else after that. You hit the nail on the head. Thanks for that. Cheyenne, did you want to say something?
Yes, Miss. I agree with what Commissioner Nicole said. It is very important to know about yourself, your past, and your future. And I really recommend journaling in order to raise your awareness, to be mindful of your actions, how you are trying to improve yourself, and also become a person of value to others instead of constantly focusing on accumulating this or that. Also, remember to check on yourself daily. That was my point. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cheyenne. You are so right. We have to remember to keep checking on ourselves and, becoming the real person that we want to be, rather than accumulating, and focusing on the outside. Thanks very, very much. Does anybody else, any of the other girls want to contribute?
It was a great session. Thank you, everybody who contributed to the session.
Simon?
Yes?
In light of everything, and I just want to kind of piggyback on what Cheyenne talked about being contributing to other people's life, I want to read a quote that I have. It says, at the end of life, what really matters is not what we bought, but what we built. Not what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. Not our success, but our significance. Live a life that matters. Live a life of love.
Great. Thank you, Beverly. That's so, so great. And I think we'll end on that note, keeping that in mind. That is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Commissioner?
It would be remiss of me if I didn't remind us that today is World Day Against Child Labor. See what they are saying there about how many children are in child labor. And
Yes.
child labor is a phenomenon that affects many children, not only here in Guyana, but also in the Caribbean and right there in Trinidad and Tobago. Whilst some of you are here on this platform, there are children who are working to earn their keep, and they also work to support their parents. So I just wanted to highlight that today is the International Day, World Day Against Child Labor. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cole, for sharing that with us. Something to always bear in mind that we are privileged, and we have to be grateful to God every day for, what He has provided for us and the circumstances in which we are at. Sometimes, we grumble, but we really have to be grateful. Okay, so I think the word is gratitude. We have to be really grateful for where we're at this stage of our lives, and move forward to higher heights coming in the near future. Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you to JMMB. Thank you to Damian Williams. Thanks, Ricardo. It was a really wonderful session.
Wonderful session. And don't forget to tell Damien thank you so much.
Yes, I will. Yes.
There. Tell him everybody was happy that he came and he did a good job.